57 dead, tens of thousands crossing, Europe's border is in chaos. Spain says the surge into Ceuta is finally under control, but the humanitarian crisis is far from over. Migrants are turning back, bodies are still being recovered. Italy has already suspended Schengen travel with Spain. Spain says it has brought under control an unprecedented migrant surge into its North African enclave of Ceuta, after tens of thousands of people crossed the border from Morocco by land and sea in one of the largest mass crossings ever seen at the European Union's external frontier. According to the Spanish Interior Ministry, around 50,000 migrants crossed into Ceuta since the morning of July 30th. Ceuta Regional President Juan Jesus Vivas said that the authorities are managing to reverse the vast majority of the crossings.
Around 50,000 people had crossed the border since Thursday morning, and it is estimated that 48,300 had returned by 6 p.m. on July 31st. As many as 60,000 people had pushed across over the past couple of days.
The humanitarian toll has been severe. The Spanish government's representative in Ceuta said 57 bodies had been recovered on the Spanish side of the border, adding there could be additional casualties in Morocco. Authorities said some migrants drowned, while others were crushed trying to climb the breakwater supporting the border fence. Footage showed Moroccan riot police using batons, tear gas, and water cannons to stop more people from entering Ceuta. Burnt remains of a bus and 7 vehicles were visible after clashes, while Spanish military vehicles lined the border as dozens of migrants watched from a hilltop inside Morocco. Hundreds of migrants were later seen returning through official border crossings and gaps in the fence after failing to find food or shelter. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez condemned the incident as an attack on Spain's sovereignty.
To describe what happened yesterday as an attack, a violation of Spain's territorial integrity, Ceuta is a Spanish city, and what happened yesterday deserves our strongest reproach and our firmest condemnation.
Sánchez also said the crisis marked an unprecedented shift in Spain's migration pattern.
In any case, this situation is indeed unprecedented. It breaks with the trend we had been seeing across Spain of a steady year-on-year and month-on-month reduction in irregular migrant arrivals, and therefore we must not only act on the urgent issues, but also make sure we do not forget to act on what is important.
Many migrants said they were turning back after finding no basic necessities inside Ceuta.
I wanted to have a better life but found here only hunger and misery. I wanted to join my mother in Spain. Everything was closed, including cafes. 1 cigarette was sold at 2 euros. This is too much. 1 baguette of bread was at 3 euros. The Moroccans of Ceuta are really harsh and oppressors. Moroccans of Ceuta, 0. I am going back. There is nothing to do here. Locals of Ceuta have treated us badly. We are hungry. Shops are closed. There was nothing.
The crisis has also sparked political tensions across Europe. Italy announced it was temporarily suspending Schengen border-free travel with Spain for air and sea passengers, a move Madrid says violates EU treaties.
The government has decided to temporarily suspend the free movement regime provided for by Schengen in maritime and air connections with Spain, reintroducing border controls. This is an extraordinary measure adopted to safeguard national security and prevent possible repercussions for our nation. The measure will be kept in force only for the time necessary, with particular attention to limiting any impact on summer tourist flows.
Meanwhile, Moroccan authorities reinforced security around the nearby Spanish enclave of Melilla, where officers fired smoke grenades and clashed with hundreds of migrants attempting another mass border crossing. Underscoring mounting pressure along Europe's southern frontier. Spain's border has been overwhelmed. Thousands of migrants have poured into the tiny European enclave of Ceuta from neighboring Morocco. The death toll is climbing, troops have been deployed, and one of Europe's most sensitive borders is facing its biggest migration crisis in years. At least 18 migrants have died trying to reach the Spanish exclave of Ceuta after huge crowds breached the border from neighbouring Morocco, triggering what local authorities have described as an absolute humanitarian and social emergency. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez wrote on X that his government was committed to providing a responsible solution to the situation.
The government of Spain is fully committed to providing an immediate response to the situation in Ceuta. We are mobilising all necessary resources, working with Moroccan and international authorities, and preparing the necessary measures to restore normalcy as soon as possible. I just conveyed this to President Juan Vivas Lara.
According to Ceuta's regional government, between 1,500 and 2,000 migrants entered the enclave over the past 10 days. Many reached the territory by swimming around border barriers on inflatable devices, while others crossed by scaling fences or entering through land crossings. At the same time, Spain's Interior Ministry estimates that 49,000 migrants crossed into Ceuta over the past 24 hours. Footage from the scene showed crowds walking around the breakwaters at Tarajal Beach onto local roads, with some migrants shouting "Viva España" as they entered Spanish territory. Most appeared to be young men, although families, women and small children were also among those crossing.
I crossed through the sand at the beginning of Castillejos, then climbed over a wall belonging to the Moroccan police. Then I entered across the border by swimming. Well, I swam about 200 metres in the sea, and that's all.
The scale of the influx prompted Ceuta's regional president, Jesus Vivas, to declare an absolute humanitarian and social emergency and urge Madrid to deploy the military to restore control of the border. However, Spain's Interior Ministry rejected calls to declare a national emergency, saying migration crises do not fall under those provisions. However, it confirmed that 60 troops from the armed forces would be deployed to reinforce the civil guard and help maintain security in Ceuta. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is expected to visit the enclave on Friday, accompanied by Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska, as the government responds to the rapidly escalating situation. Rashid Spihi, who leads a local association representing Spain's civil guard officers in Ceuta, described the situation as a serious humanitarian crisis, adding that the border had totally collapsed as thousands of migrants crossed into the territory.
It's a disgrace, honestly. The only solution I see is for Spain to do what Donald Trump does and start deporting people. Above all, it has to deploy the Navy at the border to stop anyone from getting through. Because if this was a disgrace in 2021, now it's even worse. Please, Sanchez, do something. If not, resign.
Migrant rights activist Zakaria Zaroki told Reuters that the latest surge resembles the events of May 2021, when around 10,000 Moroccan and sub-Saharan migrants entered Ceuta within days. He added that people continued gathering in the Moroccan city of Fnidek in an effort to cross the frontier. Ceuta, together with Melilla, forms the European Union's only land border with Africa and has long been a flashpoint for irregular migration into Europe. Earlier this month, Spain's Supreme Court ruled that migrants intercepted at sea while attempting to reach Ceuta or Melilla cannot be returned to Morocco. Meanwhile, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni described the scenes in Ceuta as shocking and warned that Italy was considering exceptional measures, including the possible suspension of Spain from the Schengen visa-free travel zone. As Spanish troops reinforce the border and European leaders scramble to respond, Ceuta has once again become the centre of Europe's migration crisis, with authorities struggling to regain control as more migrants continue attempting to reach the enclave.